What's going on, party people? So I'm just going to go through here and show what I built in 2023. I'm going to give a little bit of a tour and what I spent my time on. I did a whole lot of contract work for this guy, and so I have like a year's worth of work experience. But while I wasn't doing that and being there for my family and stuff, this is what I worked on. And so this screen here is the wizard, and I built this starting in March, so something like the end of February, March, April, May, June, I had it done, but I did a whole bunch of debugging, and so in July it started really rolling. And so this is what I'm using to keep track of my life, the data in my life. So to start with, we have this static data, and this is the data that I keep track of. These are just like lists that grow slowly. They ain't daily. They're things that my daily logs refer to. All right, and so I'm gonna go back home, and so every morning I do this, and every morning I do a little bit of stuff, and that's gonna grow here as things grow. And in the evenings, I collect data about what happened that day and enter it into my log, and then my reports let me see things like how much money I spent between day A and day B. So if I click in the evening, each one of these little boxes here is something that I keep track of. And each one of them usually don't take but like 30 seconds or a minute. A few of them do take longer. One of the longest is the conversations. Man, I want to automate it real bad. This pre-server sync and then the post-server push right here, man, they were hard as all get out. You wouldn't think about it, but these are communicating with my billing servers when I charge people money so that I can put that information into my personal database about how much money I'm making and where it came from. And so this communicates with my invoicing software. And and anyway, so I enter my receipts. So if I would go into receipts and I wanted to add a receipt, and I can sit here and I enter in the amount, the time, who I paid, what it was for, whether it was debit or cash, and then the account it came out of. And then I had these preset splits that I can just click on this and it goes straight into one of these categories. And that way I could split receipts into multiple categories. Say I go to Dollar General or Walmart and I buy like oil, clothes, food, and a toy. Well, I could divvy that up pretty quick. It don't take me long to do the receipts. I'm gonna go back. All right, and then the location mapper is pretty cool. This is these are the places that I've went. And so when it's time, I click on activate waypoint and I like click here, and then I type in where I what time I got there and stuff. And then I go like down here and I click here, and pow, I type in what time I got there and stuff. And then I click here and I type in what time I got there and stuff. And then I click save and it calculates the distance. It uses Google distance matrix API to calculate the distance between where I went. And then I keep track of when I have my kids, any kind of mileage that I had, any kind of, and then anything that was a business expense, I log the categories that are synced with my billing servers here, and any kind of business miles that I put in my mileage pools, I divvy them up into entries here, and then I use the post server push to push that into my live servers. These were done later. These are like these are just for my students. I can manage my students and the people that, I mean, I can emit lesson plans and lesson notification and lesson reports here, like progress reports. This is so I can keep track of my oil change and what I'm doing to my cars. I track what I eat every evening. It don't take but a few seconds to type in, I had hot dogs for lunch and I had chicken for supper, and I track what I feed my kids there. This is in case I take a nap because I want to log my sleep. I know that's silly. That's pretty overboard. I know. Leads out of the conversation tracker, it is a pain in the butt to track my conversations. That's probably the thing that takes the longest every day. But I get lead tracking out of that. So if I have somebody who wants a guitar lesson or a website or whatever I'm wanting to make for them, I can just make a lead for it, and then schedule callbacks, reminders for myself to call back. The checks are things that I check every day. Like I check my bank account every day. I'm not going to go into some of these. I don't want to emit this personal information. But yeah, I check my bank account every day. I check my kids' power school every day, and write down what I see there. And then the calendar is exactly what it sounds like. I made a calendar that I can put events into. And now that those events are there, eventually I could write scripts to sync it to public calendars, like things I want to share with people or whatever I need to do. And then the journal entry is exactly what it sounds like. I write a little bit of a journal. The conversations in the journal entry is what takes the longest. I ham it up on the journal entry, and I really try to capture what happened during the day. But the conversations stink. If I track the conversations and spend that time, I get all kinds of things, like what my kids' doctors have said. I can very easily search in the static data. The conversations is tied to the static data people and the static data businesses. And so anything that my kids' doctors have said, the kids' school, any kind of argument that I've had with anybody, everything is tracked in the conversations. And right now there's like 4 ways I communicate with people. So I go through the list and like all the text messages. It usually ain't a whole lot. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's real serious, and I have to take time to log that. Anyway, the morning ain't that bad. I'm gonna go into reports and let's see. I'm going to see what I can show you real quick in reports. I'm going to click on finances. I think it's okay. Yeah. And then I'm going to click on expenditures. There ain't no expenditures today. I'm going to, let's see. I spent money yesterday. All right, so I'm going to finances, expenditures. Well, maybe I didn't spend money. No, I didn't spend money yesterday. I spent money the day before. All right, so finances, expenditures. Oh man, that's how much money I spent that the day before yesterday. Yesterday I didn't spend nothing. Yesterday, man, the log went so fast yesterday. All right, so this was from until July. The student thing happened like somewhere in November or October. I can't remember it. But I've wanted that a long time, to be able to have lesson plans and lesson reports sent in an email. All right, this is the other thing that I built. This I've wanted to build for a really long time. I built this in like October, let's see, July, September, or August, September, and sometime into October. It took like 10 weeks or something. This is a massive application. These are all just tests. These 2 down here I did write much on. And this one is what I built greggoad.net with. And if I go in there, inside of each one of these little drop downs is a massive amount of configuration that I can configure all kinds of things about how the website turns out. And here are the pages that are on that. And so I add pages, and I just put the HTML into pages, and then I click on this render button, and it writes like hundreds of files. It takes the information in this configuration and then writes hundreds of files into a folder structure that gets me all kinds of things for free. Like animation between pages is very easy for me, and I, this is built in a way where even if you didn't have JavaScript enabled, because these pages are just HTML, it renders the HTML endpoints as HTML, and so you don't need scripting. It launches it up just like a regular web page, and then afterwards it initializes everything that it needs to initialize. And that lets me have this massive sprawling website with all these pages and smooth animation between all of them, which is a very encapsulating user experience. If you hadn't been to greggoad.net, go. And then in the admin section, I ain't gonna dig too deep into this because I don't want to leak no kind of passwords or nothing. But I want to look at this blog right here. All right, we're good. All right, so if I look at this, I just need to make sure. All right, so I'm looking at this blog right here, and what I can do right here is configure a blog. It's basically a button click. I click on add, and I fill out this stuff about what I want, the title of the blog and what its URL endpoint is going to be, and I'm gonna have more editors later, so that there'll be one for like someone who wanted a gallery. Right now, all there is an advanced editor for me to use that lets me really dig deep and have control over all of it. And anyway, so here are the. I fill out this little thing, and it takes maybe 5 minutes, but then I have a stable blog that I've in the past couple of months I've been debugging as I've been using it for my blog. And so eventually this can be pretty easily converted into somebody to have a blog type of someone selling something that's one off, like anybody like a craftsman who's making one of each of their things. Eventually I'm gonna have a bunch of e-commerce stuff in here that where people can use. So it's like sort of like a button click, maybe 2 or 3 hours of work. This took long. It's hard for me to gauge how long all this actually took, because while I was building this, I was debugging this engine here. And so as I was finding problems in it, the next website I build, those problems are gone. And so it's basically going to be just adding pages. And so I'm hoping to get like the production of the website down to just a couple of hours. That's the goal, including a blog if they want it, and all kinds of other stuff if they want like eventually a mailing list. And I think that's going to be, and now that the blog is actually running, when I make new stuff, it's going to be content, and it's going to grow slow for right now. But once I have this, if I go back over here to here, once I have this media indexer rolling where I'm uh, indexing massive amounts of like photos and different graphics and videos, and I have the social media scheduler happening, rolling. Those are in the next couple of weeks or next month or so. Well, then these blogs that I'm building, I can automate all that and automate the social media. I'm wanting to end up like posting hundreds of times a day, at least, if not thousands, hundreds of times a day. I'm so serious, and it's so close. I've wanted this for so long, and it was so hard to build. Anyway, I just wanted to show off what I had spent my 2023 doing, while everyone else was out partying. I was sitting here staring at this doggone computer screen. But maybe one day I hope to have a stable, secured old age, and have more of a life. All right. Well, anyway, yeah. If you made it all 13 minutes, man, that's wild, dude. That's wild. All right. All right. Adios, y'all.